Hello, everybody, and welcome to Amateur Cast, where I get you and your replays to be casted for my entertainment, and hopefully to help you improve a little bit as well. I'm your host, ZookaMan, and we're going to be going into a ZVP. Without further ado, going to go ahead and introduce our players. In the bottom left-hand side of the map, Frost, we have MoskoTheBear from clan HOA. Swanning is the red Protoss player, and his opponent on the opposite side of the map. We are going to be seeing Akke, or Akke, or something along those lines, going to be coming in as the Zerg player of Blue Origins, and he's going to be going for a gas early on. I would have to imagine that would be an extractor trick, because I'm not sure exactly why he would go for such an early gas. Maybe really early pool, possibly? Want to watch that and find out. So he's going to let the gas finish up, so probably going to be seeing a pool coming down. And this means we're going to be seeing a very, very aggressive 10 pool coming out of Akke here. Which means that there is going to be a large number of Zerglings coming out across the map in a few minutes here. So something that I would like to... you could be getting his second gas at this point. Ooh, it's interesting. No extractor trick. Okay. We're good. Something I would like to say, folks... First of all, I really do apologize for yesterday and the day before not getting cast out, but I was a little bit busy with doing stuff in my life. That's one of the bad things about having the end of the school year come around. Will be done in about a week, so next week I will be completely free and I will be getting cast up every week. Also watch out for my live streams that I'll be trying to get back on, probably going up onto 3 days a week, but just wanted to put that out there, guys, and apologize once again for not getting out videos yesterday or Monday. Anyways, we're going to be seeing Akke going up onto 6 Zerglings at this point. Metabolic Boost is going to be following up shortly. Meanwhile, the Protoss player is going to be going for a safe 1-gate expansion. Only going to be going up onto 1 gas with 2 in the Geyser. Personally, I'd like to see an additional 1 dropped in here because I think the 3 in the gas... There we go. 3 in the gas is definitely really optimal for 1 gas geyser. If you have 2, definitely can afford to do the 2 in each, but definitely don't want to put any more or any less than 3 on the 1 geyser. So Zerglings are going to be moving out across the map in a little bit here. They're already in the main base, and they might be making for Metabolic Boost to ditch the field. But our Protoss player looking like he's going to be opening up pretty standard. I wouldn't have... I honestly would have preferred the Cybernetic Core to be closer over here to the gateway, just so that he's able to wall in a little bit better. However, the way that it's situated right now, there is a small gap between both of them, which means that it's not going to be a big deal, as opposed to having 1 gap open. So definitely going to be helping out with the SimCity here, which is going to be able to aid him a little bit in that regard. Zerglings are going to be streaming out across the map now. Metabolic Boost on the way. They are going to be able to probably cancel the second Nexus, and definitely would like to see our Zerg player move up onto the natural expansion behind this as well. Zerglings are going to be running by that natural expansion. They are going to be seeing that it's up, but they're not going to be waiting for that to be taken care of. Mothership cores on the field. Zerglings are going to be able to get a little bit of damage done. Needs to take out that gateway or the pylon there just so that he stops any sort of major units being produced. But however, he's going to be going for the probe damage, which is definitely still okay. Being able to take care of those probes is definitely important. Good force field is going to be coming off, blocking off the Zerglings in the mineral line so that the Mothership core can help take care of things. I would have kind of liked to see a Zealot before Sentry, so that he's able to defend a little bit easier, but however, he's going to be able to defend perfectly fine with the Mothership core. Natural expansion is going to be finishing out from MoskoTheBear, which is not exactly the good position for him to be in. Would have preferred to see him cancel that, because he can't really afford to keep that up on that right now. We already seen the Zealot warped out at this point. Meanwhile, the Zerglings are going to be getting off a ton of early economic damage. 11 workers killed at this point, guys. Something to make of note here, there is no natural expansion coming up from the Zerg player. There is no game plan back home to kind of capitalize off this. Is going to be going up onto his natural expansion. However, he didn't force the cancel on his opponent's natural expansion, which means he's definitely going to be a little bit at a disadvantage there, especially considering the fact that he is now below on Harvester of his opponent. Would love to see him go in here and get a little bit more damage done. See if he can, at the very least, kill a few probes at this natural expansion. If he can, definitely would be great to see that getting sniped. That's exactly what we're going to be seeing out from him. That is going to be sniped fairly efficiently here. Protoss player not really able to defend it fairly well, so he's going to be going up onto his Warp Gate tech and going to be defending his main base as opposed to worrying about that natural expansion. Zerg player definitely in a good position here. Would love to see him drop down to third base as well, as he's a little bit late getting to that. And knowing that his opponent is down a base, he could definitely afford to put down a third hatch and start droning up for a little bit so that he's able to be on a little bit of a better position, considering that the Protoss player will be going up onto natural expansion in just a little bit here. From the Protoss side of things, I definitely think that he took a lot of early game damage here. There was a lot of probes dying. I believe there was 12 workers killed in this matchup, and that's a really big deal before the 8-minute mark. However, if he keeps up the chrono boosts, he should be perfectly fine in a little bit here, and it looks like he's going to be wanting to move out a little bit and get a little bit of damage. Wouldn't mind seeing him expand behind this, but I believe he should be able to get a little bit of counter pressure out on his opponent, if not get a little bit of damage out. Something to also point out from the Protoss player, would like to see him move out and get a little bit of damage done. He's definitely doing that right now. He could have also done that with a Warp Prism play. He could do a lot of things right now. A couple of Warp-ins, advance, and stuff like that. Now it looks like he's going to be moving in with a little bit of forces that he has. Large number of Zealots, but he does know that his opponent won't be going up onto Roaches because he did commit so heavily into those Zerglings, which is definitely going to come back to bite him in the behind. Time Warp is going to go down a little bit prematurely, but it's going to go down. Most of these Zerglings out on the field for our Zerg player, but we do have Spine Crawlers coming up. Those should be up just in time to deal with the push that will be coming in. Of course, unless the Mothership Core kills them all. Nope, it's good. It's all good, homie. Natural Expansion is coming up back home for MoskoTheBear. Man, that's a nice name. Very impressed, MoskoTheBear. Love the name. Zerg player definitely in a decent position here. Going to be moving up onto his layer tech. A little bit low in his Harvester count and his natural expansion, but he is droning up to take care of that. He's going to be taking his third and fourth geysers, which means that makes me think that he's going to be moving up onto either Roaches, a Roach Hydralisk, or we're going to be seeing a Mutalisk or a Spire come down for Mutalisk play, which I definitely think is more likely, considering that we haven't seen our Zerg player move up off of the Zergling tech. A couple of really good force fields are going to stop the Zerglings from getting surface area on the units, and I believe he only lost one Zealot in that engagement, which is really good for the Protoss player right now. However, with the Spine Crawlers in place, I don't think that this push will be able to do a whole lot to his opponent. We're going to be seeing a double Roach Warren come down from Akke. I believe that's probably a mistake, unless he's going for double upgrades. Or maybe he just went, oh, I need to build Roaches. And then a couple seconds later said, oh, I need to build Roaches. And I've done that a couple times where I personally have put down a couple of additional units. And yeah, even is going to cancel that, noticing that, oh, hey, I have 2 Roach Warrens. First player is going to be moving up onto his robotics facility tech. I believe he already has one out and is going to be getting another one. Nope, doesn't look like it. So he's going to be making one now. Does have a fourth coming up as well for upgrades. He's getting that natural expansion saturated fairly efficiently. Just have a Phoenix coming in and scouting out what's going on for the Protoss, for the Zerg player. It's 47 to 30 Harvesters in favor of our Zerg player at this point. A little bit undersaturated from our Protoss player. Zerg player definitely can afford to take a third base. In fact, it might be a pretty decent idea, considering that we are coming up onto the 12-minute mark. And definitely don't want to be behind your opponent, or even with your opponent in bases. As a Zerg player, you want to be at least one base ahead of your opponent at all times. We're going to be seeing Colossus being the tech unit of choice from MoskoTheBear, which I definitely agree with, considering the large number of Zerglings that we saw on the map. And with this style of play, either way that he goes into, Colossus are definitely going to be a good Niduswarm. So we're going to be seeing a Niduswarm come down, guys. And that's going to be coming up in the back of the main base, but that is going to be taken care of by a few careful shots with the Immortal. And something that Niduswarm will be very sad because it can't go anywhere. Here comes another one coming up into the third base. Wildly Constitution just finishing up for the Roaches. Looks like our Zerg player wants to get a little bit of Roach pressure at his opponent. And definitely nothing wrong with that. Would like to see him transition a little bit out of this play, however. I'd like to see him go on to additional tech as opposed to just staying up on the roaches. Considering that his opponent is going to be going up onto Colossus fairly shortly here. And Colossus are really good against just roaches. So if you want to keep with roaches, definitely go up onto Hydros production. I would love to see him also go up onto Corruptor production so that he's able to take out his opponent. Zerg player is going to be forced back here into the Nidus Worm. That's going to be going off into the main base. And now suddenly the Zerg player is in the main base of the Protoss player. And it's going to be able to snipe the robotics facility with the Colossus still in it. One Colossus has come out now, so there's going to be quite a bit of DPS on this army. But if he focuses that down, he should be a little bit better. A couple of good force fields are going to keep the army from getting off a lot of the damage. And might have just helped him in that engagement a lot, because the roaches are now derping with their AI. And they're going to be running back into the Nidus Worm. Not really going to be able to do a whole lot of damage. They are going to snipe the robotics facility, which is a good point. They're going to stop Colossus production for the time being. Back home, definitely would like to see the Zerg player drop it down his third base, maybe go onto a fourth base as well, as he does need to keep up on his economy and his unit production. That is exactly what we're going to be seeing. Spire coming down here from our Zerg player as well. My best guess is this is probably going to be seeing him move up into Corruptors. We could also be seeing a Muted list added on. I think Corruptors at this point would be a little bit more viable, considering that the Blink Stalker count is very, very low from our Protoss player at this point. He also has Creep coming up into his base, because there's that. We do have that +2, I believe, on the Grand Weapons for the Protoss player at this point, which is definitely a good position to be in. I don't believe he has any armor upgrades, though. No, it just has that +1. So definitely going to be a little bit of there. I think it's Mothership Core at Snipe too, which is a little bit unfortunate. Crew Strike going to be denied here from the Stalker, while we see the Protoss player moving up onto his third base as well. Akke going to be going up onto his third and fourth bases now. Definitely good plan. I think the best thing for him to do right now is to drone up a little bit and get out some more tech units, as he's a little bit low on gas. Would love to see him move up into higher tech units and higher drone count, as I believe he's only on 40 right now. It's about 46. So he can put out another 40, probably 16 on each base. I don't think he really needs the gas reduction right at this moment, but maybe. We see the Blink Stalkers coming out, or not Blink Stalkers, but Blink is going to be coming out, as well as that Sentinel Third Lance coming out from our Protoss player at this point. Definitely going to be putting himself into a pretty decent position. I believe he already does have charge. No, he doesn't have charge, so hopefully he'll get that soon as well. Probably after Blink finishes up. Meanwhile, we're having a little bit of a Hallucinating Phoenix coming up into the main base, just scouting out, seeing what his opponent's doing. He is going to be scouting the Spire, I believe, though. Yes, he's going to see the Spire. So, he's going to be able to see that the Mutalisk / Corruptors are going to be on the map, and is able to respond accordingly with a Stargate. Blink Stalkers probably could have worked, but however, it could have been a Mutaswitch. If it was a Mutaswitch, that definitely is a good response to it, especially going up onto Stargate with Templar for this storm. Excuse me. Water is absolutely delicious. But definitely the Stargate and Storm is a very good response to knowing that your opponent is going Spire, considering that he could be going up onto Mutalisk at any point. However, we are going to be seeing him going up onto Roach Corruptor, which is a little bit weird. Normally when you see this style, you're going to be seeing the Hydros added in as well, because Hydros have so much DPS, and if you're able to keep them taken care of, especially against such a high number of Stalkers, a Hydros tech switch could be really prevalent right now. Really, really prevalent. We do have that +1/+1 coming out from our Zerg player now, going with the +1 on his flyer attacks as well, while our Protoss player is going to be getting up his +1 on his armor. Storm and High Templar are on the field at this point. So the Protoss player definitely going to be in good position. Looking over the Hearthstone tab, we have 70 to 65, a good healthy number for both of our players. Mosko could put on a few more probes, but definitely getting to the position where you don't really need to probe up very much. Definitely don't want to go up above 85, especially not in this matchup. I could definitely see 80, depending on what your army composition is. With a high number of Colossus, it might be a little bit better on that regard. Or we're not going to be seeing any Colossus production started, which is a very smart move if his opponent was going for a large number of, I don't know, Corruptors. They're essentially going to be useless now, considering that the Storm Tech is literally everything that is going to be the problem. And there really isn't a whole lot that our Zerg player can do about that at this moment. We're going to be seeing the army moving in here. We're going to be seeing a major engagement coming out here from the Protest player and the Zerg player, but the Zerg player seeming to have a little bit too many roaches, but here comes the Storms. Storms are getting off onto the roaches, getting a little bit of damage done. Blake forward is going to come up. A couple of good Storms going down. And that's going to force the Zerg player back, as he doesn't really have the numbers to continue to take this. We do have a couple more Archons warped in. An advanced blink forward, going to be taking out more Corruptors, which are essentially going to be useless at this point. Apparently, I opened up the Active Forces tab, guys. Sorry. Corruptors are going to be forced to fall back at this point, and the Protest player is going to be on a decent position here. Needs to be a little bit careful, considering that, well, the Protest player will probably move out and get a little bit of damage on his opponent. Is going to be maxed out again on more roaches. So when at first you don't succeed, roach again, which is a little bit interesting. I'd like to see more variety into his army. Definitely an Ultralisk switch, or even to that. Well, probably just Ultralisk, so she probably could do a Broodlord switch as well, but I think Ultralisks are probably just a little bit more viable in the situation. A dual Ultra switch will be definitely a decent position. A couple of really good forces going to be splitting off a little bit of the army so that those are going to derp around until they die. Drones are going to be pulled away at this point. We're going to be seeing a couple of really good Storms coming up on the Roaches here. A couple of good forces in the back, forcing the Roaches not to be able to run away. And this is absolute carnage from the Zerg player, losing all of his army. All of it except for the Corruptors, but the Corruptors are potentially useless against ground army. And we're going to lose a base here, guys, as well as the fact that we're going to be losing the Infestation bit, which is definitely going to mess up the Zerg tech a little bit. And honestly, really good push coming out from the Protest player. I very much enjoy the fact that he's moving out here, getting a little bit of damage done, catching out the units that he can, and kind of punishing his opponent who's going up onto a really strange composition. Kind of showing why Roach Corruptor in itself doesn't work. You definitely need more buffer units in there than just that. So we're seeing the 4th, 5th base area is going to be up and running at this point. Protest player is going to be positioned a little bit aggressively here to move out and get a little bit more damage done. But there is no observer in this army, so creep spread is going to be all okay. We're going to be seeing a Greater Spire being the unit of choice at this point from Akke, so it looks like we're going to see him going up onto a very old Wings of Liberty style Roach Broodlord, which just doesn't work in the matchup anymore, especially with the addition of the Tempest. But hold that thought, we're going to be seeing the Protest player move in a little bit. A couple of good Storms are going to stop this out. There's a little bit of a decent concave coming out from the Zerg player, but that is going to be nothing compared to the Protoss Force Fields and Storm's going to come down. Greater Spire is going to be finishing up, but there isn't really a whole lot he can do with this. There are a lot of Roaches coming out, but oh my gosh, quite a few Roaches. They're just going to suiciding there on their rally. Protest player is going to be moving in here, but we see the Roaches going to be getting off over here into the base over here from Moscow, but really not going to force his opponent back. And now we're going to be seeing about 11 Broodlords being made. I don't know where those are at. In the main base? Yes, they're in the main base. Which, there's quite a large number of Blink Stalkers on the field, so I don't think that the Broodlords are going to be able to do as much damage as I think Akke wants them to. We're going to lose the natural expansion at this point here. Roaches are being cleaned up over here to the 4th base of the Protest player. And meanwhile, the Broodlords are going to be spawning out now. But I really feel like this is just a little bit too late, guys. All it takes is a nice couple of Storms, a couple of good Blink Ants, and all this army is dead. And oh my gosh, the Storms are destroying the Broodlords. So many Storms going down. And Advanced Blink Forward actually going to get them caught out under the Broodlings. And suddenly the Protest player is going to be forced to retreat. However, guys, he sniped 3 3 hatcheries with that push, which means that the Zerg player's production is going to be very, very low. And considering that 2 of those bases were mining bases, he's going to take a huge hit in the economy as well. The Protoss player definitely taking advantage after that fight, and definitely putting himself into a pretty good position here. I definitely wouldn't be opposed to seeing him go up into a few Colossus here to deal with the Broodlings. Excuse me. Probably no more than 4. 4 to 6 to deal with the Broodlings, and then get a large number of Blinkstalkers and be ready to get the Blink under. That's going to be the big thing. If he can Blink under these Broodlords or catch them off in the middle of the map with a Blink or something like that, he'll definitely be in a good position. I wouldn't even be opposed to seeing him go up on a Tempest to deal with these things. Just so we see the Tempest kind of get used in the matchup once again. Protoss player is going to be falling back onto his 4th base here, knowing that he really can't take a direct engagement until he deals with those roaches. That's definitely going to be the big thing. If he can deal with the roaches, he'll be easily able to deal with the Broodlords, and it's actually when we're seeing that coming up. A really aggressive Blink, going to be charging forward. A lot of Broodlords are going to fall. All the Broodlords are going to fall. A large number of Broodlings are going to be able to get up onto the Stalkers, but just not going to be enough. And we're going to be seeing the GG from both players at this point. So what can we learn here from this game, guys? So we'll start with the Zerg player, because the Zerg player lost as usual. Or not like the Zerg player loses as usual, but as we go with the person who loses as usual. So looking over the Zerg side of things, I do like the composition up to the 10-12 minute mark. I like the fact that he get up onto those roaches. The problem I feel that happened was that he kept on the roaches a little bit too long, and I definitely disagree with the fact of the Broodlords. There were just a large number of Blinkstalkers on the map already, and the only thing that would really have made it worse to go for is if there were 3 or 4 Colossus in the back. Because then the Broodlings would be essentially useless. And as we saw in that last engagement, the Stalkers were just able to blink under the Broodlords. So Broodlord's definitely not the best position to be in here. If he was not on a very large number of Stalkers, I definitely can see Broodlords being used. However, in this position, I don't think that it was exactly what he needed. I think something that the Zerg player probably could have gone for and been very successful is a Ultralisk switch. There are about 4 or 5 Immortals in this army, which, depending on how many Ultralisks you get out, if you get out 6 or 7 Ultralisks, that's not really going to be able to take them down. And with a combination of Roaches, and even to a certain extent Hydralisks, I would definitely like to see Roach Hydralisk, and then adding on the Ultralisk, because all 3 of those, Roaches, tanky, do a lot of DPS. Hydralisk, a little bit less tanky, but they still do a large number of DPS. And then, of course, the Ultralisk, very, very tanky and very able to dish out DPS as long as there's not a large number of Immortals. So if he's able to get that composition against this specific composition, it is definitely a very good idea as long as he's able to avoid those storms with his Hydralisk, because the storms are going to be the biggest thing to have to worry about. Another thing to point out here from the Zerg player is he's only on 1-1 at 30 minutes in the game. Obviously, our Protoss player is already on his 3-1. I believe he was getting his 2 already on his armor. Yeah, he was getting his 2 on his armor. So definitely a little bit behind in the upgrades as well. He did pretty well on your bank. He did pretty well on his bank. A lot better than I have seen in the past couple of games, which is definitely something admirable. Protoss player is a little bit high in the bank at the end of the game, but most people are at this point, because you have a maxed out army and you're microing and you're not paying attention to macro as much. So looking over the Protoss side of things, something that I think could improve his play, definitely wouldn't be opposed to faster upgrades. And once he gets into this composition, I wouldn't be opposed to a couple of Colossus, like 1 or 2, just to make sure that the Broodlords aren't able to get enough damage, and to stop a large number of Zerglings from coming out on the map, because that's another thing that's wonderful too. A large number of Zerglings being able to get up onto those Blinkstalkers as well as the Immortals and just be able to do a lot of damage. He has only a handful of Zealots right now, but he doesn't really need them at that point. So a couple of Colossus would be definitely a good idea. A little bit faster upgrades would be good as well. I always like going double upgrades because it makes me get the upgrades a little bit faster, and I can always get them at a time where I'm already floating a couple of extra minerals and able to keep up on them. That's why I like double upgrades, because they are very easy to keep up on both of them at the same time, as well as helping out with the minerals and the gas. I do like both of our players went up onto expansions. The third player, because of the pool, really early pool, aggressive pool, didn't get up onto a natural or third base necessarily right on time, but he was able to get up onto a fourth and fifth base, or sorry, excuse me, third and fourth base fairly on time, because he did go for that double expansion. So definitely very good as far as that goes. Crease Grad could be a little bit better, definitely pretty decent. Protoss player didn't really have a whole lot of vision. There wasn't any observer in this army. Well, oh, there it is. There wasn't an observer in the army in the mid game, which could have been abused a little bit as well. But I believe that's going to be it, guys. Thank you all for joining me. Once again, if you liked the video cast, please like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff. If you're interested in my upcoming summer tournament on the 28th of June, I will post my email in the description below. Just go there, give me your name of the count that you're going to be using on the tournament, the race that you play, and the league that you are playing in currently. And we will get you set up. Registration is probably going to be closed about a week beforehand. Until then, definitely open. If you would like to join, just go on, send me an email over there. And also, if you're interested in more of my content, I do have a live stream, which is also going to be in the description. Probably going to be a little bit low because it's going to be in my usual spiel. Please go out, check my live stream. I do the same thing, only on live. Get viewer games in to be casted for my entertainment and the entertainment of the chat. So, if you're interested, go check out that. That's always on the Saturdays and Sundays of every week. Besides that, guys, one last thing, please follow my Facebook and like my Twitter or whatever the heck it is, and I will keep you guys posted on any updates of anything, including tournaments and all that other stuff. Okay, wow, so after that spiel is done, thank you guys, everyone, and I will see you on the next cast.